Hello, my name is Kim, and in this timeless reading, we are going to find out what is next in this journey that we call life. Or if you are interested in your spiritual or personal growth, personal development journey. Now, before we proceed, I do want to suggest that if you are not in a good mind frame, if emotions are running high at this moment, to consider coming back to this reading, to this video at a later time when you are feeling calmer and centered. The reason why I suggest this is because I did touch upon sensitive topics in some of the readings, so I do just want to give you a heads up about that. Okay? Now, because this is a timeless reading, it does not matter when you tune in to these readings, because at whatever moment in time you decide to watch and or listen to one of the readings, the messages can and will still apply to you. That is, of course, if they resonate with you. And remember, not everything that is said in a reading is set in stone, because energy is malleable. Therefore, it can transform at any given moment, redirecting the course of things or altering the future. Okay? So just something to keep in mind. But with that being said, let us now take a closer look at the options. So there are 3 different groups to choose from. If you would like to practice clairvoyance or exercise your intuition, you can try to concentrate or meditate on the options without looking at the illustrations and see if you can envision in your mind's eye what is on the other side of each card or the card that you find yourself drawn to the most. So I will give you a moment to do that if you want to. Okay, and now I'm going to reveal the front of each card. So starting off for group 1 is blind. For group 2 is hold. For group 3 is vulnerability. Okay, if you haven't done so already, please take a moment to meditate on the options and see which one you are drawn to the most, because the one that you are drawn to the most, that will be the group that will have the messages meant for you to hear at this moment. If you happen to be drawn to more than one group, that is okay, since that may be an indicator that there are messages you are meant to hear in each of those groups you were drawn to. And you don't have to tune into multiple groups on the same day if you don't want to. You can come back to this video at a later time to watch the rest then. Okay? If you have selected your group, then please head on over to either the description box or the pinned comment in the comment section down below to find the timestamp that will allow for you to skip ahead to your selected group. And if you are ready, then let us get started. Let's go. Hello, if you were drawn to group 1, bienvenidos to your reading. So when meditating on the energy of this group, the message "we welcome you" came to mind. And I also felt this need to shake it off, to shake something off of me, which makes me think of release, letting go, as well as cleansing, purging, and purifying. So for a lot of you, what is next is the release or letting go of a burden, a worry, a concern, or a heaviness, maybe on your chest, your consciousness, or even an unwanted energy or feeling. Okay, but let us now move on to the cards. Some of you may be welcomed into a new community, neighborhood, town, city, maybe even country, or family. Okay, but we have the 5th house with Mars in Leo, the key term egotism. I also heard institution. Some of you may be welcomed into a new institution or club, program, or industry. And we have the 7 of Swords in the reversal. I almost always use this oracle deck, and it's very interesting how even though there are so many cards in this deck, the same few always come out. And this egotism is one of those few. But we have Jupiter with expansion, luck, abundance, hope, possibility, and wisdom. And then we have blind. And to clarify blind, oh, that was fast. We have death in the reversal. So the death card is associated with the zodiac sign Scorpio. We have Scorpio and Leo and the planets Mars and Jupiter in your spread. So immediately with the blind card and the death card in the reversal, I'm seeing that what is next for you guys is the end of uncertainty, unclarity, deceit, and or illusions, especially deceit, because we have the 7 of Swords in the reversal. And the 7 of Swords, when it is in the upright, it can indicate deception, betrayal. And what I'm seeing in specific is a time of self-deception, of maybe even self-sabotaging is coming to an end. You are ready and or soon will be willing to face some kind of truth and or to speak honestly with yourself and to yourself. I sense for some of you, there is something that you've been needing to change or that has been needing to change, but although you've been aware of that to some extent, there has been some kind of resistance on your part to bring about those changes or help those changes come about. But it seems that what is next is you no longer resisting and doing what is in your hands, let's say, in your power to help bring these changes about. We do have the sun showing up in the egotism card, which can indicate revelations, clarity, and truth. So once again, you are or soon you will be ready to face the truth, to come into the light is what I heard, or allow for the light to shine on that which you maybe have kept hidden from yourself or has been covered up for a while now. In a way, swept under the rug or shoved into the proverbial closet. And this end to resistance and or willingness to see the truth, face the truth, is bringing about massive changes in your life and in you as a person, as an individual, and more specifically in your confidence, your self-esteem, as well as in the relationship you have with yourself, with your inner being. Because I see that through you facing this truth, through you being willing to address maybe the pink elephant in the room, you will begin experiencing a deeper level of trust in yourself as well as self-respect, because there is something here about you being true to you, you standing by you instead of against yourself. This will only be for a select few of you, which is, I feel that for the longest time, someone around you has been in a way cheating you or has been taking from you, taking. And although you might have already realized that about this person, instead of facing it and or addressing it, you let it be. Because with the blind card, literally we have in the illustration someone covering their own eyes. And what I'm picking up here is a situation in which someone just didn't want to see, someone didn't want to address an issue, maybe because it was difficult to address, or it was a little heartbreaking or disappointing. And it was best to simply turn a blind eye than to feel that disappointment, or maybe even experience an ending of sorts or some kind of transformation. Because the specific situation that I'm seeing, possibly as an example, doesn't have to be your situation for these messages to apply to you. That is, of course, if they resonate with you, is of someone knowing that another who they are in a relationship with has been untrue to them, or has been mistreating them, or hasn't been honest with them, and that maybe it's now time to either end the relationship or address, the lack of honesty, the disrespect. They choose not to. They choose to turn a blind eye. They choose to maybe justify the actions of the person who has been doing them some kind of wrong, right? Or they choose to pretend as if everything is okay, as if they're not being affected by the actions of this other person or what is happening in the relationship. But it seems like now what is next for them is an opening of the eyes, a willingness to address or confront the issue or confront the other person in maybe hopes to find a solution or to heal the relationship or to reestablish trust. Or it is a decision to no longer put up with the disrespect, to end the relationship. But we do have the fifth house here, which is the house of creative pursuits. It's also the house of love affairs and children. So I did give examples about relationships. This could definitely be about a relationship or relationships for some of you guys, but it doesn't have to be, because I am seeing this applying to those of you who are maybe ready to reach out for something better or turn over a new leaf in the areas of maybe career or creative pursuits or endeavors. I do sense that a lot of you are or soon will be testing your luck somewhere else, somewhere new. And that would be after you have released, let go of, or walked away from something that wasn't serving you. And that you yourself put a lot of effort into justifying remaining there or holding on to whatever it is that very soon you will choose to or decide to release, let go of, or walk away from. Yeah, because I get this feeling of a cover up, like someone was covering up for another or was covering up the reasons for why this, whatever it is that they were remaining in, wasn't working out or wouldn't work out. So I am seeing like different scenarios here, because I am seeing a situation in which there is a need to walk away from, like literally end something. But I'm also seeing a situation in which it's mostly about addressing. It's addressing the issue, maybe some kind of confrontation, like having a talk, or someone having the courage to look at the reality of a situation to then address what needs to be addressed, maybe make changes to then start seeing improvement. Because the blind card with the death card in the reverse as a clarifier makes me think of someone who doesn't want to change. Like they don't want to maybe look at what needs to change, because doing so will then require for them to take some kind of action, right? To work, to put in a little bit more effort to bring about those changes. And that's something that they don't want to do. Or someone who simply is refusing to experience change, even though change or transformation is what is needed to bring about improvement or to help them experience something better, something divine is what I heard. Yeah, because with hope here, I am sensing hope. There is hope for restoration is what I heard, for improvement, a better future is also what I heard in my mind. But it's as if whoever is hoping, they're hoping with their hands behind their back. The visual that came to mind is of someone on a rowboat with the oars at the ready, but instead of taking a hold of the oars and rowing the boat in the direction that they want it to go, they are choosing to place their hands on their lap and simply close their eyes and pray that the boat somehow miraculously drifts towards wherever it is that they desire to go or want to go. Right, all of a sudden I thought of the saying or the quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Right, so there's this feeling of someone hoping for change, even though they are still repeating the same patterns, maybe by not changing their habits, their tendencies, or by refusing to acknowledge what needs to change, maybe what needs to go or what needs to be addressed. Because there is something about habits and tendencies coming through here. I feel like what is next for a lot of you is the stepping out of old tendencies. So if what you are expecting is something different, like different results, a different outcome, or some kind of improvement, then it seems like now or what is next is you doing what is in your power to give a higher chance of experiencing a positive outcome. I keep thinking of friendships, platonic relationship, social circle, inner circle. So if there's anyone in your circle, in your friend group who you have for a while now been justifying their actions, you have been trying to sweep under the rug issues, worries or concerns you have about your relationship with them or your relationship dynamic with them, it seems like what is next is the addressing of this, or you being completely honest with yourself about how you truly feel in regards to this person, your connection with them, or your relationship with them. I don't know why. I just feel like for a lot of you, there is something that for a while now, you kind of deep down have known that it's time to either walk away from or let go of. But you've kind of been postponing doing just that for one reason or the other. There's this feeling with hope. It's almost as if some of you have been holding on or postponing in a way as a means to give someone a second chance or even a third chance. Like, or if it's not someone, it could be something. Like, no, I won't make a decision now. I'll give this person another month, or I'll give this thing another month to see if it either comes back around or it improves or they come clean to me. They change their behavior if this is about a person. But this giving another chance has been happening for quite some time now, that it's now become an avoidant situation rather than a let's see how this goes. And I say avoidance because, as mentioned, whatever you have been giving another chance to is something that hasn't changed much or at all since the very first time you decided to give them or give it another chance. And so it has kind of proven to you or shown you that it's not going to change anytime soon, or that it's not willing and or wanting to change anytime soon. And so it's no longer about waiting for this to change for you, maybe, but it's now so more about you deciding, do I stick around? Do I remain here knowing that this isn't going to change anytime soon? Or do I let go of this? Do I walk away? Do I give way for something else to come through or to unfold? But the egotism card does make me think of pride. So for some of you, I do see this being a situation where if you were avoiding some kind of confrontation, what is next is the confrontation. It's the facing whatever it is you have been turning a blind eye to. And you're doing so because that is how you get through to the other side. That is how you give way to maybe a new beginning, or you allow for development, for positive transformation. You allow for what I heard in my mind is prosperity. So an example that is coming to mind is someone values integrity, but recently they have been working somewhere where there is a lack of integrity. And that has been negatively affecting the person with integrity, because working there is like going against themselves, going against their morals, their values, and that's harsh. Yet instead of, let's say, looking for other jobs or becoming open or considering other jobs, they remain working there whilst justifying the actions of maybe their employer or their workplace, etc. Right? To excuse them from feeling this need to seek job elsewhere, to look for other jobs. But what is next for them is realizing that they can't continue doing this because it is negatively affecting them, right? It is hurting them in some kind of way, or it's preventing them from growing as an individual. Because I do get this feeling of someone expending a lot of energy justifying another or justifying something that isn't working out, that isn't healthy. Or I'm picking up on the energy of someone covering up lies or covering up for another. And so with egotism here, now I wonder if what is next for a lot of you is a little bit of selfishness through you choosing yourself over your well-being, maybe your mental well-being over something or someone else. Right? Because the situation I'm seeing here, someone deciding that they will no longer justify the misbehaviors of another. They will no longer cover up for another's lack of accountability or lack of responsibility. They instead will choose to focus on themselves, on taking care of themselves, on looking out for themselves. So what is next for some of you is you redirecting the focus back onto you. Because I feel like for a while, some of you have been focusing on somebody else or on something else, something outside of you. And that has resulted in you over time giving less and less attention to yourself. You may be disconnecting from yourself. You forgetting about you. Or maybe forgetting about your dreams, your goals, your passions. And I keep talking about how this may be in regards to another or something else, something outside of you. But for a select few of you, this could be you taking a closer look at your own tendencies, right? You no longer may be covering up for yourself through justifying certain actions that in reality and truthfully do not align with your core values. Because the bottom line, whatever the situation might be for you, is that what is next for you is you, in a way, coming back into alignment with your true self. That sounds very cheesy and arbitrary, but it's about you being more honest, not only with yourself, but also honest in your actions. Yeah, there's something about steering away from self-abandonment, steering away from self-deception, or maybe even for some self-victimization, because as mentioned, I do see a situation where maybe someone was expending a lot of energy justifying their actions, behaviors that they weren't very proud of per se, as a means to avoid correcting them, as a means to avoid accountability, or maybe inner healing or inner work. And sometimes how we do that, or a way to do just that, is through pointing fingers, blaming others or blaming circumstance, or maybe even blaming the past, because it moves attention away from ourselves. And so that way we don't have to take a good look at ourselves. We don't really have to address what is going on within, or address whether how we are going about things, how we are showing up is actually producing positive changes or is negatively affecting our way of living. It's negatively affecting our relationship with ourselves or our relationship with others, and so forth. So what is next for a lot of you, as mentioned at the beginning, is a time of honesty and transparency for the sake of growth, not to judge, not to self-punish, but rather to heal, to grow, and to reclaim sovereignty. Right? To remind oneself, like, hey, there might be a lot of things that are out of my control, but at the end of the day, it is I who am the director, and the narrator and the writer of my own story. And so if you are someone who does tend to critique yourself, or you do tend to blame yourself for certain things, for not showing up in a certain way, for not having shown up in a certain way in the past, I feel like what is next is a new course of action where instead of self-blaming, self-shaming, you are, if this resonates with you, choosing to simply behave in the way that you would like to, would want to, that you would be proud of, or that aligns with your morals, with your values. And I resonate with this because I myself in the past used to self-shame every time that I said something which I ended up being embarrassed about, or when I wasn't what I believed to be the best version of myself. And I would spend and or invest more time beating myself up rather than looking at, well, what made me feel this way? What made me feel and or believe that I wasn't behaving accordingly, or that I was going against myself, something along those lines. And if there's any validity to that, if the standards that I'm holding myself up to are standards that I truly believe in, not just expectations coming from society or what I think are the standards that I should hold myself up to, then what can I do to be more true to myself? What can I do differently the next time around? How can I become a little bit more aware of my behaviors and my tendencies or my patterns, to then be able to break out of those patterns if I don't like them, or to not enable certain habits and or tendencies that I no longer want to continue, right? And so there's a difference, or I myself notice a difference between like having a meeting with myself sort of, and just being honest with myself without the judgment, versus straight out being judgmental towards myself, my actions, my behaviors, my tendencies, and ridiculing myself or beating myself up. There was a huge difference. And I saw the difference in how I felt and how I felt towards myself, about myself. Also in my mentality, right? Because when I was beating myself up, I was very pessimistic and it was very hard to feel joy or feel proud of myself. But when I leaned more towards being my teammate and, kind of having those conferences with myself, then my mindset shifted. The future wasn't as daunting and change wasn't impossible. It was very much attainable. So that could be the case for some of you, or that is what you might be experiencing next, that kind of change in regards to how you treat yourself and how you communicate with yourself and how you perceive change as well. But I do feel like what is next for a lot of you is you having healthier standards for yourself, about yourself. You no longer settling or choosing something that maybe asks of you or requires for you to shun your own morals, principles, values, or to undermine your feelings, your sentiments, your wants, your desires, or set your own desires, your wants, your aspirations aside, or requires for you to be maybe dishonest with yourself. In other words, what is next is you choosing something better for yourself. You choosing a healthier relationship with yourself. You walking away from places, situations, environments, even relationships that do not align, again, with your morals, with your values, right? That do ask of you or require you or kind of demand of you to be different for it or for them, to be unlike yourself, to behave in a way that isn't like you or isn't how you would want to behave or how you would want to be. The phrase that keeps coming to mind is choosing better for yourself. You're choosing better for yourself. Even if choosing better for yourself might require for you to face some harsh truths or to start anew, maybe. But I want to draw out an oracle card now to get just like any last messages, advice, and or guidance, or any last drops of insight. But we have the ring. The numbers 50, 5, and 2 could be of significance, because I believe that's what these Roman numerals stand for. Yeah, especially the number 5 because it showed up more than once in your spread. And the number 5 can indicate change, and it is also a number that represents adventure, freedom, and independence. So I do feel like some of you are choosing your freedom, your independence. Like I said, what is next for a lot of you is a redirecting the focus, your focus back onto you, back onto your life, your aspirations, your goals. But the ring or rings, to be more specific, make me think of commitment as well as promises. So what I'm seeing is next for a lot of you is you keeping and are fulfilling a promise that you made to yourself, or you focusing on keeping promises that you make to yourself. The ring also makes me think of loyalty, fidelity. So there's something about you being loyal to you, being loyal to your cause, being loyal to your inner being, your morals, your values, your integrity. Okay, we have the ring. It's on page 222. Interesting. An angel number, a repeating number. So that number could be of significance, or angel numbers or repeating numbers could be of significance. But we have the ring, the infinite, the wheel, the connection. The ring is an image of connectedness. Rather than viewing life as linear, as a series of progressive achievements, the ring challenges us to sense the cyclical, infinite nature of our world and experiences. Beginnings and endings fall by the wayside as we practice seeing ourselves as part of the cosmic circularity of creation. For this reason, it's no surprise a ring is worn on the finger to represent eternal love that surpasses space, time, and worldly things. So much can be projected onto this archetypal image because it mimics the Earth's orbit around our great sun and the intimate bond between two lovers. It is the micro and macro united. This card calls us to deepen connection with self, other, and the world at large. Meanwhile, there may be a literal ring waiting to adorn your finger. Interesting. And then we have, when this card is in the light position, it represents connectedness, humility, and sacred cycles. When it is in the dark position, it represents unconscious repetition and starving for connection. So, are you holding on to something in hopes that it will offer you what it is that you are needing, even though it hasn't really shown any signs of it having what it is that you're needing, craving, or looking for? Because if that is the case, what is next is you deciding to no longer hold on to an idea or a possibility, but rather open yourself up to or seek for the real thing. And a lot of you might be doing that by letting go of the idea, kind of the illusion, right? Because how it's coming to mind is someone has been holding on to the mirage of what they want, and that has been delaying them reaching their oasis because they've been so caught up in this mirage. And what is next for them is them kind of breaking out of a spell, like them realizing that this is just a mirage, it's not the real thing, it's not the oasis that they've been looking for, and choosing to walk away from the mirage or walk through it, walk past it, and towards their oasis. But the ring can indicate promises. So there is the promise of something better. The illustration in the ring card makes me think of like a vortex, a portal, a gateway. So what is next is you opening up a portal, a gateway for some new reality. I even heard for like a new version or a different version of yourself. You're saying yes. The ring makes me think of like saying yes to a different future, to a new life, maybe a new venture. So you're not letting go of hope. I see you being quite hopeful. It's just that you're letting go of something that was like an illusion, that was having you hold on to something that was pretending to be, maybe not actively so, but it was disguising itself as what you wanted, what you've been aiming for. And I feel like for a while now you've realized this, you've known this. And so what is next is you simply deciding to not play along. In other words, like not continue with the facade, to actually seek that or come into alignment with the real thing. What I heard in my mind is I'm no longer sticking around for empty promises. I'm seeking something real, something honest. And I do see that for you in the future. The guidebook message spoke of lovers and connections. So if this is about a relationship, more specifically like a romantic relationship, even a platonic relationship like a friendship, I do feel like there is a connection, a relationship that you are meant to experience, you're meant to be in. I feel like what you're looking for, what you're seeking, what you're wanting in terms of relationships, whether they be platonic and a romantic, exists. It is real. But there's a very high chance that where you will find it will be somewhere different or with someone different than where right now you are maybe possibly looking for it. And if this is about like platonic relationships, I feel like you are already bound or kind of connected to people who are real, true friends to you, who are maybe part of your soul tribe, or who are loyal to you. So loyal that they won't shy away from speaking honestly to you when it's necessary, when it's needed. But the illustration in the ring card makes me think of seeing the way through. I feel like what is next is, again, as mentioned at the beginning, you finding clarity, experiencing clarity, you seeing the way through. And I often spoke about that, like getting through, right? Seeing the way through. So there's something about you reaching the other end of something, the other side of something. The illustration in the ring card also makes me think of cosmic portals, which reminds me of the Lionsgate portals. So portals such as those could be of significance. I don't know what other portal there is. Maybe something related to the number 5, like the 5th of May, because it's 5/5, or the 14th of May, because if we reduce the number 14 by adding 1 and 4, we get 5. Something along those lines. The year 2025 could have also been of significance for you guys. Maybe that's the year in which some kind of cycle began, or you became aware of a cycle or a pattern that needed to be broken. That's when maybe you started avoiding some kind of truth, or avoiding a confrontation, or avoiding making a decision, possibly. But I definitely see someone opening up their eyes. It's like they're opening up their eyes, and as they're opening up their eyes, the world around them becomes the more bigger, the more richer. They begin to see the possibilities, see the way through, see the way out of a situation maybe, or see the value of themselves. The ring also makes me think of contracts. So you may be ending a contract. Maybe that's a decision some of you are going to choose to make. Maybe that's what is next for a lot of you, ending or terminating a contract, or maybe not renewing a contract, which makes me think again of not renewing or repeating a cycle, more like a pattern. The message on the ring card also spoke of, unconscious repetition, right? And cycles. The ring challenges us to sense the cyclical, infinite nature of our world and experience. So what is next is you no longer unconsciously repeating that which you no longer want to experience, that which you no longer want to enable or encourage. What is next for you is awareness. What is next for you is truth, transparency, honesty. And what is next for you is you coming into alignment, or through you being more honest with yourself, you attracting partnerships, relationships, or opportunities that are truthful, that are honest, genuine, sincere, and committed. Maybe committed to you, or loyal to you, or committed to the same cause if this is about you partnering up with another in a professional way. But this is what I'm seeing. I do want to pull out one more card to wrap up your reading. So we have expansion. Again, with Jupiter, you are experiencing expansion. The air balloon, hot air balloon here makes me think of travel, but it also makes me think of looking at a situation from a bird's eye view, from a higher perspective, a more objective perspective. Also kind of emotionally detaching or physically distancing yourself from a situation and environment in order to see it more objectively, or in order to have the space to clear your mind and release biases, to be able to think more objectively, more clearly, more honestly. But we have a hot air balloon ascends. When you find and follow your truth, you take off. Your values can inspire you, and defining your unique philosophies can help you expand. Wow. Focus on your own optimism, and you may come to believe that anything is possible. Yeah, so it kind of summarizes the main points I've mentioned in your reading, which is you staying true to you, right? You are defining your unique philosophies, you are recalling and paying mind to your values. And it is through you staying true to you, through you behaving in a way that aligns with your core values, your philosophies, your principles, that you become more like yourself. That's a very weird way to put it, but maybe that you will end up feeling more true to you if right now you do feel some disconnect with your inner being. Focus on your own optimism, and you may come to believe that anything is possible. Yeah, as mentioned before, you're not letting go of hope. I feel like, on the contrary, you are becoming the more hopeful and more optimistic, but in a way that serves you, that is conducive to you. You're looking out into the horizon, you're seeing what is out there, instead of giving all of your attention, all of your maybe devotion to something that promises and promises and promises and promises, but never delivers. And there's this feeling of like you reclaiming your hope, like you reclaiming something of you, or you reclaiming authority or say over your destiny and over your faith as well. And with the message, anything is possible, what is next is the realization that anything is possible, that change is possible, that a new beginning is possible, that a starting over is possible, that you choosing better for yourself is possible, that you choosing yourself is possible. But the key term for you guys, the key word is expansion. It made me think of like expanding your mind, expanding your world, expanding your options. What is next for a lot of you is you receiving options, or it's more like you becoming aware or seeing the options, the different paths laid out in front of you. And you're definitely acquiring wisdom. And with Jupiter showing up twice in your spread, your luck is definitely improving. And I feel like it's improving in opportunities, like creative opportunities or endeavors. It could also be in improving in terms to like exposure, popularity, if that is something that can affect you in a positive way, like you getting more exposure. But there is something about creativity, the arts, you experiencing luck there, you experiencing improvement or betterment there. This could also pertain to like jobs, and again, opportunities, offers. Like, for example, if you are in need of something, like you are in need of money, an opportunity to make money, good money, and honest money will present itself to you almost instantly. Yeah, so there's something about you seeing improvements in the area of career, work, or finances. There's also something about reputation. Yeah, but I feel like that's gonna be over time. Over time, because there's this feeling of you accumulating wealth, or you building your reputation over time, or you getting back up on your feet, if that resonates with you, steadily. I'm thinking of stages, but then their next job is a full-time job or a full-time position with a higher pay, and then their third job comes with some level of authority and with even a higher salary and some benefits. And this person just, climbs up the corporate ladder until they become like a CEO, right? But that was just an example to help illustrate how something might start a little small, but then I think over time it's going to build. It could turn into something more substantial. But things I want to point out, I mentioned Scorpio, and then we have Leo, the number 5, 50 as well. Then the planet Jupiter showed up twice in your spread, as well as the word expansion, so those could be of significance, or the letter E. There's something about Egypt or the Mediterranean coming through. Rings could be of significance, portals like the Lionsgate portal. I'm not sure if there's other portals because I've only heard of the Lionsgate portal, but if there are, then please do keep those in mind. If there aren't, then the Lionsgate portal could be of significance, but the month of May also be of significance. I did mention dates such as May 5th, May 14th, as well as the year 2025, so keep those dates in mind. And the year 2025 could serve as a hint for some of you guys, is what I heard in my mind. But let's see. Roosters, early morning, the break of day could be of significance as well. You may be rising earlier than usual very, very soon if you don't already do, or if you are not an early riser or a morning person. When, let's say, this new chapter of your life commences, you would be a morning person, or you will find yourself waking up earlier than you normally do. But there is something about you looking forward to the next day, to the coming days, to the future, when you are in this new chapter, in this new energy. Is there such a thing as a Jupiter return? Do we experience a Jupiter return like we experience a Saturn return? I'm sure we do. So when you experience a Jupiter return could be when you will be undergoing these kind of changes or transformations, or you would have decided to let go of something or walk away from a situation or situationship is what I heard right now, or choose something different, something better for yourself. This Jupiter return, it could be awakening something in you, maybe an ambition or a drive or a desire for more, for better, for something healthier, as well as for authenticity or sincerity. Okay, but these are all the messages coming through for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it was of some assistance. If you did, and if the reading was helpful, then please leave a like or a comment, okay? And let's see, if you would like a personal reading, all the information for that can be found in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. If you wish to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe and hit the notification bell button if you want to be notified when I have uploaded a new video. And yeah, before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to my spirit team and your spirit guides for assisting me with delivering these messages to you. Thank you so very much. And I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you are watching. And until the next moment, bye-bye. Hello, if you were drawn to group 1, bienvenidos to your reading. So a couple of messages came to mind when meditating on the energy of this group, which were lean into it, we work till dawn, raise the glass, and touch of magic. And I did pick up on magical fairy vibes when connecting with this group's energy. So there is something mystical, ethereal, or even magical about you guys. I wonder if some of you connect or work with elementals, or you feel a strong resonance with the elements, with nature, or if you are interested in history. If not history, it could be mythology, folklore, legends, or tales, fairy tales. Because this could be serving as a confirmation that there are definitely messages you are meant to hear in this reading. But if not, I strongly feel like tales, legends, or stories are of significance. You may be coming across an important message or receiving an important message as you are reading a story, a legend, a myth, or you are being told about one. The specific tale or legend that is coming to mind is that of King Arthur, Camelot. So this legendary hero or king could be of significance for some of you guys. Okay, But now I'm going to move on to the cards. I wonder if some of you are writers or you're interested in writing, creative writing, or you are historians. But we have the 7th house with Mercury and Libra, the key term influence. Okay. Interesting that the planet Mercury came through because it is the planet of communication, writing, learning. Maybe some of you will be writing a novel, a short story, or you will be publishing a book, or you could be going down in history. Is that the expression? Because we do have influence here. So you could be influencing an industry or others in a positive way that will be remembered over time throughout generations. But we also have the Ace of Wands, which makes me think of breakthroughs. Aces always indicate new beginnings, and wands being associated with fire represent passion, vigor, creativity, and inspiration. So I'm also seeing you experiencing a strike of inspiration or creativity. But let me pull out the rest of the cards. I feel like what is next for a lot of you is you getting in some kind of flow or being in the flow, where you will find yourself either being very productive or producing quite a lot, or channeling, receiving, coming up with several ideas. But there is something about you creating, you doing, producing something of substance, something of value, and or importance. And it will be something that as you are creating it, developing it, it will feed you, nourish you. It will encourage you to keep on creating or remaining inspired, remaining motivated. Oh, so what you will end up creating, producing, developing will become your motivation. I have noticed that I've been a bit spacey since I started this reading, since I started delivering the messages for this reading. So yeah, there is something about you channeling messages, because when I get spacey, it's when I'm channeling messages, information, or tuning in. But this spaciness also makes me think of daydreaming. So there could be a lot of daydreaming. Maybe you are quite the daydreamer, or innovator is what came to mind. You might often get lost in your thoughts, or your brain, your mind could be quite active, always churning ideas, processing thoughts, or that's what you might be experiencing next. But if you already resonate with this, then I feel like what is next for you is focus. With the Ace of Wands, I sense direction. So if your mind tends to wander, or let's say you get a lot of ideas, but then you don't know how to apply these ideas, or you struggle with focusing on one thing and then seeing it through, then what is next for you is you having that sense of direction, you knowing what steps to take, or you becoming focused on one thing, on an idea, like a project, for example, and sticking to it until you see it completed, until you see it through, or fully developed, fully manifested. But there is something here about being able to channel now, being able to direct your energy, direct your focus. And we have hold in the reversal. And to clarify hold, yeah, the hold card showing up in the reversal makes me think of no longer holding back. I feel like what is next is you no longer holding back your inner, I heard inner ferocity, but what I was thinking was inner fire. I sense a sacral chakra activation occurring. This sounds a little bit like a double entendre, but what is next for a lot of you is the release of your creative juices, or more like it's you allowing for your creative juices to flow. So what is next is you being more expressive, or you maybe finding a creative outlet that allows for you to express yourself fully and freely without inhibition, without needing to hold yourself back. And I will say, for some of you, there is a message about sensuality, sexuality. So what is next for some of you is a time of sexual exploration, possibly, or you getting more familiarized with your physical body and with your physical needs, as well as your desires. And you coming to understand what is to your taste, what is to your liking. I also see with the Ace of Wands a physical glow up, because the whole card in the reversal makes me think of your inner beauty no longer being held back and now being expressed outwardly. But to clarify the hold card in the reverse, there's also something about the womb, the sexual reproductive system, fertility, and then we have the Hanged Man in the reversal. Again, a message of no longer holding back. The Hanged Man, when it is in the upright, it can indicate pause or a hold up. So it's showing up in the reversal and makes me think of the opposite. That which was being held up is now allowed to move forward, is now allowed to flow. I'm thinking of a riverbank. I'm thinking of a dam. It's like the dam has been broken and now the water is allowed to just flow its natural course. So what is next for you guys is freedom, liberation, a time of being yourself, your uninhibited self, or a time of exploration. And then we have Black Moon Lilith without, our untamed sexual energy, rebelling against the norm, and liberation. Yeah, it's pretty clear. What is next for you is a time of liberation, a time of uninhibitedness. I'm not sure if you are currently being oppressed or suppressed in some kind of way. If you maybe are working somewhere where you don't feel like you can express yourself or be yourself or work on what it is that you would like to work on. Because if so, then it seems like what is next is you being liberated from that which is kind of oppressing you, suppressing you, or holding you back, and you now being given the opportunity to just be yourself or work on that which you want to work on, and or express yourself as much as you would like to. So in this next chapter, let's call it a chapter, if there is any holding back, it would only be on your part, because nothing in your external reality would be holding you back or limiting you in some kind of way. So the extent you want to, let's say, express yourself would be determined by you. And if right now you feel like it's you, maybe it's a fear, an insecurity, a belief that is resulting in you withholding something from yourself, Like a part of you, for example, your creative energy is what is resulting in you holding back in some kind of way, like shying away from being seen, for example, or shying away from fully expressing yourself, or trying new things, experimenting, getting out of your comfort zone, or pursuing that which truly calls to you. Then it seems like what is next is you being liberated from those fears, those insecurities, or you kind of breaking out of them, like pushing past them in some kind of way. So what I'm seeing being next for you guys, or for some of you, is you no longer playing it small or shying away from that which truly calls to you, shying away from your desires, from your passions. We do have Black Moon Lilith here, which makes me think of dark feminine energy, the dark feminine archetype, which represents unapologetic authenticity. So it could be that what is next is you stepping into your dark feminine era, or you claiming your dark feminine archetype, where regardless of your sex, you are showing up unapologetically, authentically. You are walking on earth wondering, what is an insecurity? Like, what is that? I'm not familiar with that, or I once was, but not anymore. It's like you're letting go of all of that which made you believe that you were small, or that you were stuck or blocked, or that you were without power or control of your life, or that you couldn't be proud of yourself, that you couldn't love yourself, that you couldn't accept yourself for who you are, for how you were, or even how you looked. Because I do see with the seventh house there being a focus on the body, your physical appearance. I feel like the snake here is symbolizing sensuality, sexuality. And so is this Ace of Wands, because it seems, at least in this reading, a bit phallic. And all this talk of sensuality doesn't necessarily have to immediately allude to like physical intimacy, right? It could simply be alluding to creative energy, like passion, inspiration, creation, intimacy, and just a connectedness with the body, one's body, nature. Because I am noticing that the couple in the influence card are in their birthday suits, and that makes me think of vulnerability, but it also makes me think of something organic, right? It makes me think of nature. Nature doesn't cover itself up. It doesn't hide its true form. It transforms, but it always reveals itself as it is in its different stages without embarrassment, right? So something else that I'm seeing here is a lack of unabashedness. So in other words, what is next for you guys is a time of audacity and exploration. I see you being unabashedly curious and forward. With rebelling against the norm, you might be rebelling, or if not rebelling, simply dismissing or just no longer allowing yourself to be held back or heavily influenced by social norms or constructs. I don't know why, but I thought of all of a sudden high society, like the Regency era, when females, women weren't allowed to talk about like their own body. They weren't allowed to be audacious or passionate because it was frowned upon. And so if you were in the Regency era, and it might even apply today, you would be the one hiking up your skirts as you're running through a field, or talking about politics, inquiring about the human anatomy, or laughing out loud without really caring so much about whether or not you're looking or seeming proper to others, or if you are following the social etiquette or the aristocratic rules, something along those lines. And I feel like all of this will also kind of go hand in hand with what you will be feeling inspired to work on and or to create or to further develop or start developing during this time, because I do see you creating. I do see you being very creative or feeling very inspired during this time. Like I said, I sense this to be a time of exploration, but also a time of creation. So some of you may be in researching quite a bit during this time, or maybe learning something new or developing new skills, practicing current skills of yours. But I definitely do see you starting or working on a project, or if you have already started a project in the past that you were very passionate about, but then for whatever reason you stopped working on it, or this project was placed on pause. I feel like what is next is you resuming this project and then seeing it through till the very end. Because the Ace of Wands does make me think of momentum and initiation. So it seems like if things have been pretty slow for you, or you have been experiencing some kind of stagnancy, what is next is you experiencing forward momentum and acceleration. I'm imagining someone who's in a car driving, who has been waiting at a stoplight, and they've been waiting and waiting and waiting with their foot on the brake. And then what is next is the light turning green and then pressing on the accelerator and then just going. So I do see the pace picking up, or I do see momentum building for you guys. But definitely there's this feeling of going. You're moving forward. Yeah, I keep hearing in my mind, go, go, it's time to go. And there is something about rising. So your confidence will definitely be increasing. And it will be as a result of you feeling more comfortable in your own skin, or just more comfortable in being yourself and being who you are, and appreciating yourself as you are. Because I don't see any comparison going on during this time. I don't see you kind of wishing or hoping to be somebody else, to be like somebody else. You're very much, this might sound a bit strange, but like you're very much wrapped up in you, but it's a good thing. Because I see this as you loving yourself, or you simply now taking a moment to appreciate yourself, who you are. Yeah, so there could be a bit of like a main character energy going on for some of you, but I am seeing self-exploration as well. It's like you're taking the time to get to know yourself or study yourself, to learn more about you, learn more about your quirks, your idiosyncrasies, and to also tap into those aspects or parts of yourself that need a little awakening or need a little bit of encouragement to flourish. Because I do see fully bloomed flowers. So there is something here about you experiencing a flourishing, or certain aspects of yourself, certain parts of yourself experiencing a flourishing. Yeah, for some, this is a time in which you might be reconnecting with maybe your inner child, but that would be for some of you. Because for others of you, I feel like the part of you that you are tapping into, that you are kind of encouraging to show itself, is your passionate side, your maybe sensual side, or your creative side. For some of you, it could even be like your goofy, audacious, witty, adventurous side. For others, this could be talking about you reconnecting with your inner feminine, your inner power as well. Some of you could have, for the longest time, been afraid of your inner power. Yeah, because as mentioned before, I'm sensing a holding back. So yeah, some of you could have been playing it small, or maybe you were taught growing up to play it small, to not, outshine others. Even if that wasn't your intent, right? You were told, don't be yourself because you shine too bright when you are yourself. And that makes others uncomfortable. And so as a response to that, you might have started dimming your light, right? You might have showed a little bit of your talent, a little bit of your capacity, but you never went all in. You never allowed yourself to fully show up, because you were told, you were taught, you were made to believe that you shouldn't do that. And now it's like you're releasing those programmings. You're no longer listening to those ideas and notions, and you're just bursting out of your shell. You're going all in, because that's the feeling I get with the Ace of Wands. I feel like what is next is you giving something your all, and it's not like you haven't been giving it your all, but this feels like you staying, you remaining even when things start getting a little intense and or uncomfortable. Right? Because I'm imagining like a superhero whose superpowers are like rising to the surface, and that wave of magic, because we did speak of magic before, interesting that the Ace of Wands came through for you guys, could feel so powerful as it's coursing through their veins, through their body, that if they're not used to it, or if they have not become used to it yet, they could shy away from it, right? They could kind of themselves suppress it because it might feel like a little too much, or might feel a little bit too scary. It's like, what if I let the full force of my power come through, and then I don't know how to handle it? I don't know how to channel it. I don't know how to direct it. What if I lose control, right? And so they never really use the full extent of all their power, of all their magic. And so what is next for you guys is you kind of getting familiarized and accustomed and comfortable with your inner magic, with the extent of your powers, of your abilities, of your skills, maybe, or talents, or just curiosity, your passion, your sensitivities could even be. There's this feeling of you no longer shying away or running away, or even being intimidated by your inner prowess, by you, by what you can do, or how deeply you can feel, or by who you are. And because I did speak about being able to direct, being able to channel your energy, maybe your focus, I do feel like what is next is you learning how to, in a way, handle. Doesn't sound quite right, but like, let's say if you are a very passionate individual, how to channel that passion, that fire, let's say, without letting it burn you, without having it run wild and burn everything around you. Again, it makes me think of superheroes and how they must learn to manage and temper or just handle their superpowers. They don't come with that knowledge right away. They must learn to. It's like a skill, right? Let's say someone who is already naturally talented at something, they must learn how to make use of that talent, how to work with that talent. And that takes practice, that takes experience. And so I feel like for you guys, what is next is you allowing yourself that practice, you allowing yourself that experience little by little, so that soon you will be able to tap into this different aspects of yourself, to tap into your inner passion, your inner creativity, your inner sensitivities, maybe even your rage, without fear of being lost in it all, or without fear of it consuming you. Because now you are able to wield it like a weapon, wield it like a sword, or like a tool, because now I'm thinking of a wand. So you're tapping into your inner magic, and I will leave it up to you to interpret that how you see fit, to create something, to build something. Some of you might start your own business, or you could end up providing a service, because what I'm seeing in specific, and this doesn't have to be the case for every single one of you, but I do see some of you looking into possibly channeling messages for others, because I also see for a lot of you that what is next is a time in which you will be connecting with your maybe psychic abilities, or deeply connecting with your senses. I do see something about like earth magic, or some of you could be interested in like witchcraft, or the occult, the esoteric, metaphysics. But I think that you will find your own unique way of tapping into your inner magic, wielding it, channeling it. Because I'm being I'm being reminded how there's different witches. Like there's a kitchen witch, there's a crystal witch, something along those lines. And this is making me think of that in the sense of some of you will be channeling your inner magic or working your magic through writing, creative writing, like writing a story. Others of you will be doing so through maybe literally channeling messages, maybe providing tarot readings. Others of you could be doing so through gardening, planting seeds, helping nature grow and flourish. Others of you could be doing so through healing modalities, being a healer, an energy healer, or a medical nurse practitioner, or it could be something like healing the mind through therapy, or healing the spirit, the soul, through hypnosis, meditation. I am also seeing something about cosmetology or the arts, sculpting, painting, even music, poetry. So there's different ways in which we can be a magician, in which we can sprinkle a little bit of magic here and there, or bring forth healing, or inspire beauty. Some of you could work with animals. You could be veterinarians. You could foster animals. You could groom animals. But now looking at the word liberation, what I see next for you guys is a period in which you are liberating yourself through no longer expecting yourself to be something or someone other than yourself, other than who you are. That doesn't mean that you aren't open to growing and transforming. You are, but this is more so about you no longer setting yourself aside, the you who is right now, in favor for an ideal version of yourself or for who you think you should be, or placing your life on hold for an ideal version of a life. So in other words, you might be liberating yourself from false expectations, or just liberation makes me think of you allowing yourself to be. It's like, hey you, hey me, you are allowed to be yourself. Like, I'm no longer going to hide you away in favor for this ideal version of myself. Yeah, so this could also be referring to shame. Like if you've been experiencing shame, that's something that you might be releasing. And interesting, because I did mention and or talk about the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is an energy center that is often blocked by feelings of guilt. And the solar plexus chakra is the one that is often blocked by feelings of shame. And I feel like the solar plexus is also important for you guys because it is the energy center that has to do with confidence, our self-esteem, and our self-identity. So yeah, it could be that you are maybe unblocking these energy centers after having released or worked through feelings of guilt and shame, or these energy centers are being activated, and when they're being activated, that's when like feelings of shame or guilt that you were unaware of will be coming up to the surface for you to address them. That is, if there was any of that. Yeah, because I do see something about you allowing yourself to be, you no longer holding yourself to this like false ideal or this expectation that has been kind of, instead of encouraging you to accept yourself and love yourself and have compassion for you, it has been resulting in you kind of shaming yourself or feeling bad about who you are, or withholding certain experiences, joys, or wonders from yourself. If you are of the mindset that you cannot be happy or live a full life until you achieve a goal, manifest a dream, or look a certain way, possibly, I think what is next is you asking yourself, seriously considering whether, if you not having achieved, let's say, a goal, is truly blocking you from being the best version of yourself, or it's blocking your life, or if instead it is these conditions that you are placing on yourself and or adhering to, which is making you feel limited or blocked. So yeah, if there's been any of that, I feel like that's what you're kind of liberating yourself from, that way of being, or even it feels a little bit like punishing yourself because there is no need to. I feel like a lot of you are realizing that you are wonderful as you are. And if you need to work through some things, if you feel that is the case, just because you need to work through some things doesn't mean that you stop being wonderful. And you're learning that you can embrace yourself and you can love yourself as you are while you continue growing and learning and discovering more about yourself and about the world. And as you continue healing, if you feel like currently you are in the process of healing, snakes often represent transformation and healing. But I do see growth here. And like I said, I do see you experiencing a glow up or a beautiful transformation. As you release more of the burdens, more of the conditioning or conditionalities, it's like you will be peeling back layers. And what I heard is years of exhaustion, years of stress, years of fears, of burdens, social pressures. And as those in a way shed away, because now I'm thinking of a snake, how it sheds its old skin when it's growing, you will be reborn. You will look fresher. You will feel younger or just more energized. And like a weight has been lifted off of your shoulders. So this is a healing occurring from within that is causing an outward transformation. And you might find yourself being a little bit more rebellious, or as mentioned before, a little bit more audacious. You might find yourself speaking up more or showcasing more of your personal sense of humor with unabashedness or speaking freely. Some of you could also be experiencing a healing of the throat chakra because there's something about you communicating, speaking more freely now. The throat chakra also can deal with self-expression. Okay, but now I want to draw out one of these oracle cards. If you are interested in romantic relationships, what is next is you hearing from or hearing back from potential romantic suitors. So in other words, what is next is a time in which you will be reached out to or hearing from a lot of people who are or will be romantically interested in you or who are attracted to you. And if you feel like you're someone who's very shy, like you're not someone who usually is the one to initiate an interaction or spark a conversation with another, that might change because what I see next for you guys is a time in which, again, you're being very forthcoming or you're not having a lot of reservations. I see that if there is, let's say, someone that you are interested in getting to know, you will find it in you to go up to that person and initiate an interaction with them or strike a conversation with them. Right? I also see reciprocation on your part. So if someone comes up to you first and you are interested in that person, you're not shying away. You're reciprocating, or you will be open to it. And there is something here about you knowing what to do. Like when the moment comes, you will know what to do. You will know how to respond. It will be very natural and organic. I don't know if this is referring to like an interaction with another person or if this has to do with like a first time, like the first time you experience something. Because I will be honest, I thought of like a first kiss or like a first time, in terms of like physical intimacy. Yeah, so if you haven't had your first and you're worried about that, you're being let know that when it happens, you will know what to do and there won't be a lot of coyness, maybe at the beginning, but there won't be any, like, let's say insecurities or fears getting in the way of you enjoying the moment and being present. And I heard feeling worshipped, feeling beautiful, feeling wonderful, feeling loved, because what else I'm seeing for you guys, especially if you're worried about a first is that it will be a wonderful experience. I'm sensing or seeing a lot of passion here and like mutual feelings, mutual pleasure, and as well as like good synergy compatibility. And if this is not about a first, this could be about like your next encounter. For those of you who are in a healthy, committed relationship, what is next is you experiencing passion and deep intimacy in and via your relationship with your significant other. Let me now pull out a oracle card. So 2 cards fell out, and we have agape. Goes like this. Okay, what are these? Oh, they're candles. Oh, more fire. And we have the tear. Interesting. So I want to read the guidebook messages associated with these. Okay, so start with the gape. We have devotion and unconditional love. Wow. With what if instead of putting yourself at the center of your spiritual practice, you put God, goddess, or nature at the center? How would this change your approach, such as the energy of agape? It is alive when we are in awe and wonder, our breath taken away by the sacred force that surrounds us and asks for nothing in return. This card can indicate a spiritual initiation that stretches your capacity to love and serve. You sense the earthly as the heavenly and vice versa. Such an initiatory moment can appear in any form, and like a healing balm to the modern soul, its effects last a lifetime. The agape card may also suggest you reassess what you worship every day, consciously or unconsciously. What are you elevating? Where does the sacred ladder you climb ultimately lead to? Interesting how the word worshiping came through in this guidebook message several times, because I did mention the word worshiping in your reading, and when it came to mind, it felt a little like strange because it's not a word that I often use in my readings. So that word could be of significance, but interesting how we have unconditional love here coming through here as well. So yeah, I feel like what is next for you is a time of authenticity and maybe radical self-acceptance, but with the agape card showing up in your spread, it could also be a time in which maybe you will be experiencing a spiritual awakening. And I believe we can experience many spiritual awakenings in a single lifetime, but it could also be a time in which you are going to feel this great sense of connectedness, right? Where it's not just you against the world, it's you and the world, right? It's you not feeling alone because you truly do feel connected with all that is, and you see yourself as being a part of all that is. And maybe that is what is, in a way, helping you see yourself through a new lens that is less judgmental. Because I kept talking about nature, and it's sort of as if you are seeing yourself as being part of nature. And I don't know if you have a great love for nature or you appreciate nature, the beauty of it, the rawness of it, but if you do, then it would make sense why you seeing yourself as part of nature, you are now seeing the beauty in who you are and your uniqueness, right? Because it makes me think of like flowers. No two flowers, no two roses are the same. That doesn't stop them from being a rose and from being beautiful. It just differentiates them from the rest. Reminds one that although we are all part of the same, we are different expressions of that one whole, right? Since the word worshiping came up twice, I sense that some of you are being advised to consider whether you are worshiping something or someone by placing your happiness on it or them, or by giving them the power to dictate your worth or when your life begins. And if the answer is yes, then you are being suggested to ask yourself why. Why has there been this kind of, let's say, worshiping? And has it been helpful? But when this card is a knight, it represents service, reverence, honor, and joy. When it is in its dark side, it represents spiritual bypassing and righteousness. Interesting. And the messages associated with this card fell on the pages 254 and 255, so those numbers could be of significance. Yeah, maybe some of you have been experiencing or going through a spiritual bypassing, right? Maybe you have been avoiding confronting like heavy emotions, unresolved wounds, or even like your own psychological needs in favor of like this a notion of like ideal spirituality, like, or like something like an ideal version of yourself, or like, no, I can't feel sadness or feel anger because it's a negative emotion, and I'm always meant to be happy if I want to be like spiritually enlightened or something along those lines. And you're realizing that that isn't really serving you, that that really isn't what spiritual enlightenment is about. Yeah, because that's what I was getting at when I was trying to explain the hold up card in the reverse. So it's like you setting aside a part of yourself, maybe like your psychological needs, in favor of like this ideal version of yourself, who you think you should be in order to meet some kind of expectation or like fit some kind of construct. Maybe what you thought or you believed to be a spiritually enlightened person, or what you thought or believed would get you to happiness, or to manifest your dreams and your desires. And now you're realizing like, no, that's not what like the spiritual journey, the inner work is all about. So I'd rather be more honest with myself. I'd rather pay attention to myself and take care of me, those parts of me that are asking for my consideration, for my awareness, and heal and grow from there. But now I want to, or I see that being the case, what will be next for some of you guys. But now I want to read the guidebook message associated with the tear. So we have the tear, the mourning, the release, the rain. Tears are droplets of letting go. Once they begin to fall, we allow the swelling tide of emotion to run its elemental course. Often the tear is what is needed in order for a conversation or situation to break into the next level of intimacy and vulnerability. Some say that tears are so powerful in softening our egos that they open up a portal to the unseen world. Through our watery eyes, the ancestors catch a glimpse of us, and we are reminded of their eternal embrace. We sense our humanity, our humility, and we allow ourselves to be held. Wow. It is likely this card appears when there is a grieving yet to do, a sinking down into disappointment or despair that, once acknowledged, will bring a shimmer of clarity to our dewy eyes. Wow. And when this card shows up in light, it represents melody, melancholy, flowing through. And then when it's in the dark, it represents drowning, drama, and murkiness. Yeah, if you feel like you've been drowning, what is next for you is you coming to the surface. But I feel like what is next for a lot of you is you paying attention to, and maybe even paying respects to, the grievances, to the hurts, to the pains that you've held within for the longest time, that you thought you had to hide away from the world, even hide away from yourself. And you're soothing them through your awareness, through your acknowledgement of them, right? And what is next for you is a time in which you're realizing that, yes, although you are an expression of universe and all that is, you are part of it, you are also here living a human experience. You are also human, and you are allowed to be human. You don't have to be perfect. You can feel human emotions, and human emotions vary, and sometimes they're not so pretty. Sometimes they lead us to cry ugly, but that's fine. That's fine, because tears can be very healing. Just the release of that liquid. It is like a release, right? And it can be very cleansing to the mind, to the body, and to the soul, to the inner psyche. So yeah, I feel like with hold being in the reverse, there's no holding back. There's no holding back your tears. There's no holding back the hurts. You're letting it out. You're letting it be. And through you doing so, you're healing and you're liberating yourself, right? Because if there's been a lot of repressed emotions, then over time you could have felt kind of trapped by those. And this, I talk about emotions, but this could also be like insecurities, fears, worries, concerns. Yeah, and with influence, what I see is even though you're addressing all of this, you're not being influenced by them in a way that makes you feel out of control or makes you feel overpowered by these emotions, by these feelings, by these notions, because you're holding your ground, right? You're learning how to maintain maybe your sense of self while feeling through sadness, while feeling through anger, while feeling the pain or even desire, right, etc. The message here on the guidebook reads, the tear is powerful and it is possible to be subsumed in its waters. Find a supportive place to open the floodgate. Again, floodgates. I spoke of a dam. There's something here about flow, releasing, letting be. The poem Rain by Rachel Lindsay could be of significance. Yes, but now I'm just going to draw out one last oracle card and then I will wrap up your reading. Emeralds could be of significance. Gemstones. And we have courage with Leo spirit and the message, a lion leads to pride. With the message, move forward with courage, face whatever it is that frightens you by finding your inner strength and your ability to persevere. Courage is a learned skill that you can build upon. Yeah. There's no more waiting. You're taking action now. What is next is a time of action, a time of leadership, assertion, or as mentioned before, audacity, audaciousness. But the zodiac signs, Libra and Leo, could be of significance. We also have fire signs with the Ace of Wands. That would be, again, Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. The Hanged Man is associated with Pisces. I'm not sure if there is a song titled Agape. I feel like there is. There must be. If you know of one, if in your playlist you have a song titled Agape, that song could be of significance. Roses, posies, peonies, dahlias, and daisies could be of significance, as well as lilies. Snakes, lions, or felines could be of significance, as well as bats. And moon energy, feminine energy could be of significance as well. A new moon in Libra, a new moon or a full moon in Libra could be an important window of time. Okay, but these are all the messages coming through for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it brought some guidance, some clarity. If it did, then please leave a like or a comment. And if you're new to this channel and you wish to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information is in my website. And the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. To all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements or just played them in the background, thank you so much for that, since that is the simplest way to support me and to support this growing channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. And before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to my spirit team and your spirit guides for assisting me with delivering these messages to you. Thank you so very much. And I'm wishing you and your loved ones a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you are watching. And until the next moment, bye-bye. We're drawn to group 3. Bienvenidos to your reading. So as I was connecting with the energy of this group, I felt a little tired, somewhat unmotivated, and a bit discouraged. So I wonder if that is how you are currently feeling, or if at the time that you are watching this, you are having a slow day, or you had a slow day. But if it is the case that you're feeling a bit down or lethargic, I sense Spirit wants to let you know that it will pass. And the reason why I mention this is because the message "waited out" came to mind, and it made me think of like waiting out the storm, which lets me know that this energy, this feeling, whatever it is that you are experiencing right now is temporary. It will pass. And actually, they're saying it's already dissipating. So you will weather out the storm. Okay, but let us now move on to the cards. Ooh, that was fast. And we have the 8th house with Jupiter in Scorpio and the key term manipulation. So the 8th house is the house of transformation, rebirth, endings. So what is next for you is change, transformation, even healing, growth, also recuperation. In my mind, I saw someone rising, someone standing back up, and their birthday soon, which makes me think of rebirth, rising from the ashes like a phoenix. So a new beginning is what is next for you guys. A second chance, a second opportunity is also what I heard. But we have judgment. Wow, interesting. A major arcana. So the judgment card can speak of awakenings. So yeah, I feel it goes hand in hand with that image I saw in my mind's eye of someone rising, right? Being awakened, being, I heard restored, or being brought back to attention, brought back into focus. So if you feel like you've been kind of on autopilot or you've been in a daze, it seems like what is next is you coming back to center, you awakening, you maybe even coming back to yourself if you feel you've been a little bit out of it recently. I keep thinking of second chances, second opportunities. So if you've been wanting that, if you feel like you've been needing that, or like a fresh start or a refresh of sorts, that's what you are getting or experiencing next. But let me pull out the rest of the cards. So we have vulnerability. Oh, the Ace of Wands. This card also fell out for group 2, but it came from a different deck. It came from this deck over here. And so aces always speak of new beginnings, and wands being associated with the element of fire indicate passion, vigor, inspiration, creativity, vitality. So it seems like you are, or you soon will be receiving either a spark of inspiration or you will be experiencing revitalization. I heard a new motivation, a new incentive. So if that's what you've been needing, like motivation and incentive to, I don't know, get out there, get up, get going, that is what you will be receiving next. In other words, what is next is you having an incentive, a reason to motivate you. And we have full moon with releasing, reflecting, recharging, and letting go. Interesting, because the judgment card can also talk about self-evaluation and forgiveness. So with the full moon, there is some kind of release, but I feel like that's possibly what you are going through right now. Maybe at this moment you are, in a way, purging, and that could be why you might be feeling a little down, lethargic, under the weather, if it is the case that's how you are feeling currently. Because usually when we go through these like emotional purges, it can take a toll on our energy levels and stamina and even mood, right? Because we are processing a lot, we are feeling through a lot as we are releasing. So right now you may be recharging, or if you are feeling a little tired, lethargic, it could be your body's or even mind's way, your psyche's way of telling you, okay, we need to slow down because we do need to recharge. So I don't know if some of you are currently experiencing the aftermaths of a burnout, or you are in need of rest, because I do see you experiencing a time of like slowing down or sleep is what I heard in my mind. A time of recovery, recuperation, recharging. And during this time, there could be a lot of reflecting or pondering, introspection going on, because I see a situation in which someone is dozing off, and as they are dozing off, memories resurface, or the mind begins contemplating on the past or starts fantasizing about the future. And so there could be some of that currently, or maybe that is what will be next for you guys. But again, if you ever do end up experiencing this, it will be an indicator that you are cleansing, healing, because what is coming through in specific is this is a period in which the psyche is healing. The psyche is being cleansed. Your subconscious. So there could be some subconscious reprogramming going on during this time or very soon, because we do have this energy of manipulation. So anything that hasn't been serving you, it's sort of like anything that your subconscious, that your psyche knows is sort of like a lie, something that you were told to keep you in fear or to keep you doubting yourself or keep you at war with yourself. That's what you will be purging and are releasing, or your psyche, again, your subconscious, sort of like your body or your very being will be working to release. Yeah, because with judgment, it makes me think of you awakening to the truth, like you opening your eyes to see clearly what is of you and what isn't, what serves you and what does not, what is a lie and what is in alignment with you, with your core beliefs, your principles, your values, or your destiny or soul's purpose, if you resonate with or believe in that. Jupiter is a planet of expansion, so there is something about you experiencing some kind of maybe soul expansion, but again, it's making me think of expansion of the mind, expansion of your psyche. Yeah, this starry night sky in the background is reminding me or making me think of the subconscious mind. This sounds strange, but it seems like you are aligning your subconscious with your higher self, or the energy frequency of your higher self, which again just makes me think of you releasing or letting go of limited beliefs, limited thinking, irrational fears possibly. With vulnerability, there is a heart chakra activation, possibly also a crown chakra or soul star activation, which is the 8th energy center, located a few inches above the head. And it's what connects us to our higher consciousness. Yeah, so it's sort of like your subconscious, your human subconscious is aligning with your higher consciousness. But in order to do that, your human subconscious must release anything that does not align with your higher consciousness. Yeah, this sounds very like spiritual here, but this could be just indicating a massive reprogramming that you're going through, and also inner healing. I feel like some of you are fatigued, are burned out, you're tired, and your body is doing its very best to address that, to help you recover from that, so that you may get your energy back, so that you may get your mojo back. Are some of you familiarized with the concept of soul retrieval? If you are, that may be what is occurring or what will be occurring next for you guys. But if not, this feels more like you getting your energy back, as mentioned before, you getting your mojo back. And that is being made possible through you releasing. Now, because I did mention a heart activation, what is next will be a period of vulnerability. It will be a period in which you may find yourself confessing maybe certain feelings or sentiments, or maybe even deeds that have been weighing heavy on your conscience. And that could be another way in which you are releasing. But I definitely do see a lot more truthfulness, on your part, but actually also in general in your life, because what else I see being next for you guys is secrets coming up to the surface, or more specifically, any lies, any deceit, any manipulation, any ill intent, facades will be exposed, right? So if there is anyone around you who hasn't been honest with you, completely honest, or they have been deceitful, they are going to be exposed. Or what else I'm seeing here is, if it's not that they're exposed, they will be exposing themselves. They will be the ones coming forward with a confession or even with an apology. Because I also do see that for some, there could be some reconciliations or opportunities to reconcile with people who you had a falling out with, or you have a strained relationship with, or who you weren't maybe able to patch things up with in the past. Because I did speak about second chances, second opportunities. So for some, it will very much depend on what you want. There will be a chance to start over with another. You might be giving a second opportunity to someone, or someone might be giving or offering you a second opportunity, a second chance. But with the Judgment card, I also see self-forgiveness occurring. So if there is anything that you feel guilty about, if there is anything that you have been judging yourself harshly for, and that really hasn't allowed for you to, let's say, move on or heal in a way, then what is next is you forgiving yourself, or you kind of opening up to forgiveness. And this self-forgiveness or forgiveness is what will give way to a new beginning or a fresh start. Now that I look at manipulation, what came to mind is you are no longer being manipulated by feelings of shame or guilt. If there has been any guilt tripping going on, the victim of this guilt tripping is going to free themselves from the grips of it, right? Will no longer be a victim to it, in other words. Yeah, because I see a liberation, someone liberating themselves from some kind of guilt tripping or emotional manipulation, perhaps. And sometimes we can do this to ourselves without us realizing, because our way of thinking, our beliefs could result in that. Like, for example, the idea of, if you made a mistake, then that means that you're a failure and you shouldn't try again, right? That idea, that belief could end up making one feel that they are not worthy of more of second chances. Or what's a better example? Let's say ideas such as, if you really cared about your friend, then you will do what they're telling you to do, even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if you really don't want to do it. I'm not sure if those are really good examples, but those kind of ideas that guilt you into abandoning yourself in some kind of way, or mistreating yourself, or letting go of walking away from things that are healthy for you, or that do bring you joy, or that do help you in some kind of way, are the things that are being exposed, so that you can see them for what they are, and you can choose to liberate yourself from them, so that then you can start living in a way that does fulfill you, or does allow you healing, does allow for you to grow, does allow for you to rebuild your life, is what I heard. Or write a new narrative for yourself, one that feels more true to you, one that is healthier. This energy is somewhat similar to that of group 2, so it's interesting that you and group 2 do share at least one card, which is the Ace of Wands. But I love that the Ace of Wands showed up for you guys, because it definitely indicates that what is next for you is a new beginning, is a new start. That is invigorating, that is inspiring, and uplifting as well. So with vulnerability and the Ace of Wands, I do see you feeling uplifted and invigorated. And it will be after a time of rest or self-reflection, or a time of release, right? Like emotional purging, for example. This new beginning, this fresh start, let's say, might also occur after you have experienced one or more endings, or after you have released, let go of something that again wasn't exactly conducive to your overall well-being or to your mental well-being. Your psyche is what I'm hearing. Yeah, so you might be undergoing quite a few changes, definitely within, but not only within, also in your outer external reality. Things will be changing, but whatever is changing will be what needs to change in order for you to experience this fresh start, this new beginning, maybe this rebirth, or what I heard is this reawakening. Because as I mentioned with group 2, we can go through more than one spiritual awakening in a single lifetime. Because we may awaken to our inner power, our inner strength, but then as time passes, we might forget, we might in a way close our inner eye and become clouded by all these other ideas like limited beliefs or maybe even projections coming from others that don't really serve us, that make us in a way forget. And that's when a reawakening, another awakening, could occur. Because I feel like for some of you, this is you, it could be like waking up from a bad dream or just waking up from a daze, it sort of feels like. And then reclaiming your sovereignty, or just again getting your energy back, getting your mojo back, and then making conscious decisions. I am literally thinking of someone who was unconscious, like who was sleeping because they were healing from a wound. Maybe because I recently saw a movie that had a soldier who was recovering from an injury, and while they were recovering, they were unconscious. But then once they regain consciousness and get their voice back, they start advocating for themselves, like start making decisions, start choosing for themselves where they want to go, what they want to do with their life, how they want to expand, channel, and or direct their energy. So that's what I see being next for you guys, like you being consciously aware of your surroundings and having that strength, like feeling that strength to decide for yourself, like, this is what I want to do, and then doing it, right? So this isn't about just you imagining or envisioning what you would like, but it's also you having the stamina, the determination, the drive, most importantly, to do that which you want to do. I wonder if some of you have been experiencing the blues, or maybe you have gone through a depressive episode, or you have or are experiencing depression, because this sort of feels like someone coming out of that, someone coming out of a depressive episode, or someone coming out of a very confusing time, maybe a time in which there was a lot of fear and anxiety, or maybe some kind of identity crisis. For some, it could be that what is next, I don't know if this is the correct way to phrase it, but is you being out of an unhealthy, maybe even harmful relationship, or that is what is next for some of you, like you leaving an unhealthy, unstable relationship and rebuilding your life, starting anew as an independent person, as an independent soul, remembering who you are, rebuilding your self-identity, and developing or regaining your sense of self. But for others of you, this could simply be about you coming back to yourself in a way. Yeah, because I keep picturing in my mind someone, it's like astral body floating near or above their physical body, and that resulting in some disconnect between the soul and the here and now, the physical reality or their physical body. But what is next for them is like the astral body coming into the physical body, and that is resulting in some kind of awakening, like, I'm here now, I am back, I am conscious and present, right? So there could also have been some disassociation going on, and that happens for many reasons. I don't really want to delve so much into those topics, because although I have some knowledge about it, I don't have much experience in the field of psychology, and I don't want to misinform or be careless about it, because they are sensitive topics. So I apologize for not diving deeper into them. but I do bring them up because I don't just want to ignore that, especially if it is coming through or coming up in the readings. But with vulnerability and Ace of Wands, if you have been wanting to open up, if you have been wanting to talk about maybe an experience or just talk about your feelings, talk about what is going up in your head, you will get an opportunity to do so. I feel like what is next for you guys is you either finding an outlet in which you can express yourself without inhibition, without a filter, and you can express yourself in a way that is very healing and that will allow for you release and relief. But I'm also seeing that you will either find a community or a platform or someone who you can talk to. I am thinking of like action and movement, which makes me think of physical therapy or some kind of activity, like physical activity that is therapeutic. So some of you could be finding a therapeutic exercise, or it makes me think of like somatic exercises that will help you feel more. I keep touching my hands, like keep rubbing my fingers against my palms, like that will help you feel more grounded or more attuned to your physical body. Some of you could actually be working with a therapist, with a counselor, or you may be finding ways, healthy ways to heal or to regulate your nervous system is also what I'm seeing here, but also to establish a healthier relationship with your physical body and with your awareness. I feel like some of you could find it difficult to be present, to be fully aware. It could feel like a lot. Maybe this has something to do with like overstimulation. Maybe you are very sensitive to stimuli, or it could have something to do with like a dissociative disorder. And if that is the case, I feel like what is next for you is you again finding some kind of therapy or exercise or maybe outlet that will help make whatever deters you from connecting more with yourself, being a little bit more present, less scary. And it will also help with feeling more comfortable, more safe, more secure in your body. So resources, it makes me think of you receiving resources, you receiving help, or you receiving that which will help you feel better and maybe a little bit independent if that's something you've been wanting, like independence, self-reliance, or will help you feel more lighter in your energy, or freer, more. I keep wanting to use the expression in control, but I don't want to overuse it because although we can be in management ourselves, I don't want to bring about this idea that we are in control of every single little thing in our lives, because we really aren't. There are, of course, things that will be out of our control. But if this is about you feeling safe within, I feel like that is what is next for you. You finding tools that will help you with feeling more safe in your body, with yourself, in your mind, possibly when in solitude, or maybe in an environment. Yeah, because I do sense that what is next for some of you is you settling in a new environment, a healthier environment. But I do want to now pull out an extra oracle card to get any last messages, advice, and or guidance. A lot of you may actually be finding a creative outlet, some kind of outlet. That will be, maybe at first it will start as a therapeutic exercise, or something that you're doing as a form of therapy, as a form of just, releasing or just organizing your thoughts possibly. But then over time, it will become a passion of yours. It will become like an art form is what I heard, like something that if you want to, you can share with others, and something that could also end up being a source of income for you, or could end up being your profession, maybe your career, or what you will base your career off of. Okay, so 3 cards fell out together. We have the Pilgrim. We also have the Starborn. And then we have Arrows. So I want to read the guidebook message associated with each. The messages are not in alphabetical order in the guidebook, so it's kind of hard to find them. It takes time. Okay, I will start with arrows because that's the one I found first. And we have arrows with love as desire, eroticism, and sensuality. Though arrows can be depicted as unbridled sexuality and eroticism, a more contemplative understanding of this archetypal energy leads us to the root of desire itself. What do we long for? Why are we awakened by love? Interesting, awakened by love. What makes us hesitate in the face of intimacy? Eros reconnects us with the primal longing to merge with another human being. Nature, music, art, plants, food, or anything that we perceive we are separate from. Eros allows us to momentarily unite. Our heart embraces otherness, and in doing so, we further understand our own. Our life force awakens. This card reveals an inevitable initiation into love's labyrinth. You may find yourself swirling in a new territory of desire and sensuality. Explore the labyrinth with a curious and honest heart. And remember, though the way is circuitous, you're always being led towards its center. It's very interesting because this makes me think of you kind of reconnecting with your senses, you awakening to the world that is around you, you feeling a lot more connected to this plane and all that it offers, right? Nature, music, art, plants, food. So this feels like you finding your joy again, finding joy in life and living possibly, or experiencing life. You opening up to the joys and the wonders of this world, or learning how to find joy in the little things, how to enjoy music, how to enjoy food. If you feel like you've lost joy in that, what is next for you is you regaining that joy, right? Again, it makes me think of like the senses. What happens after someone has been numbed? After the numbing dissipates, you start feeling again, right? And it's a whole new experience. It's different. So what is next for you is things around you becoming more colorful, vibrant, richer. Arrows also makes me think of desire and passion. So that's something you will be experiencing once more, or more of next. But when this card is in its light form, it indicates passion, playfulness, and sexual health. Like sexual health makes me think of just like good tendencies, healthy habits, but it could be healthy sexual tendencies, sexual energy, which makes me think of also just vitality. So that's also something you will be experiencing next, or what is next for you. When this card is in the dark, it indicates madness and projection and obsession. Yeah, so if that's what you feel you've been experiencing recently, like that's what you are coming out of, right? Obsession makes me think of like obsessive thinking, ruminating, being up in the head, worrying a lot. Projection, I did kind of touch upon that maybe what you have been adhering to, what you have been listening to, paying a lot of attention to, are things that others projected onto you that aren't necessarily true. Right. And so if that is the case, that's what you are liberating yourself from, those projections. And that's what you're also releasing from your subconscious mind. Yeah, because projections can turn into programming, subconscious programmings that we then adhere to, follow without us like realizing it. But now I want to read the message that is here on the side of the page, which reads, Plato reminds us that eros can be experienced as platonic love. It is activated when we witness beauty and truth in the world, when our barriers soften. Yeah, so any barriers you have built as a means to protect yourself. Like, for example, disassociation is a defense mechanism. It's something that our brain activates to protect ourselves. And so whatever defense mechanisms, even coping mechanisms that were activated as a means to keep yourself safe, that now are no longer necessary, are now, instead of actually helping you, becoming a bit of a blockage is what you are in a way deactivating. Right? And so again, this makes me think of reprogramming, kind of teaching the mind and teaching your nervous system that it's okay to soften those barriers, put those walls down, and to relax because you're safe now. But let me now move on to the Starborn. So for the Starborn, we have the Divine Child, the Star Child, the Destined. I wonder if some of you resonate with being a starseed child. But we have an elusive yet radiant aspect of the self. The Starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of light that arrives with each being at birth. The moment the newborn crowns, whether vaginally or surgically, the royal stars above are said to constellate in a unique shape that maps our path in the world. The idea of destiny is controversial, yet the Starborn naturally feels a sense of destination and purpose, aiming itself toward a future that is beyond the mundane. When this card appears, travel back to your birth story for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from a mythic point of view rather than as a series of logistics. Read the story of the three fates and envision yourself born under the stars with a unique destiny. And this message falls on page 111. So 111 could be of significance, or the number 1, or the number 11. Yeah, but what is next for you could be a reigniting of old passions, perhaps, or it could be a remembrance, you recalling that which you were passionate about when you were a child and kind of reconnecting with that, or you recalling old dreams and now, deciding to pursue them. There's this feeling of remembrance, you remembering what you love, what you care about, what moves you, what fulfills you, what drives you, maybe even what frightens you, but it not being something that is scary, but rather something enlightening, like, oh, well, yeah, I was afraid of that, or that intimidated me in the past. Interesting, right? Like just getting to know yourself again in a way that is not judgmental, but rather just introspective or retrospective even. But when this card is in its light form, it indicates a light, trusting, vibrant, and aimed. When it's in the dark, it indicates feeling off, misalignment, and loss of longing. So again, if this is how you feel right now, a loss of longing, misaligned, I feel like that's what is changing. What is next for you is you feeling alight and hungry, but hungry in a good way, like in a way that indicates like, yes, I'm alive and feeling, and I crave things and I want things, and that's not bad. That's actually stimulating and fun, because it can encourage you to be curious and to explore and to smell the flowers and taste new dishes and create new things. But let's see, the message on the side reads, have your chart read, study your constellated shape, ask questions. What does the process conjure in you? Faith or mistrust? What would happen if you saw the galaxy as your ally? Interesting. So some of you could be looking into astrology, natal charts, but please, if you do, use that as a tool, something that can help you understand yourself better, understand certain tendencies, but I will recommend to not use it as a definite map of your life, like of your future, because I'm not sure if that's how it's meant to be used, and I'm not sure if using it in that way is actually very helpful. I mean, it could be if used responsibly, but I would suggest more to use it as something that can give you insight about why certain life or personal challenges are more difficult for you to face and overcome than others, for example. But let's see, the Pilgrim. I feel like the Pilgrim is going to be important because I haven't come across it. Okay, here it is. We have the Pilgrim, the Wanderer, the Traveler, the Apprentice. For the Pilgrim, an outward journey is always an inward journey. This archetypal wanderer seeks wisdom, experience, and meaning in the farthest reaches of the globe and the deepest regions of the spirit. Others will wonder when the pilgrim will settle down and claim a more conventional life. But the pilgrim knows that the heart belongs in motion. Where there is motion, there is freedom, expansion, and growth. Responsibilities, social conventions, and logistics lull us to sleep, and soon the pilgrim becomes veiled in the slumber of the day-to-day. Yet when this archetype awakens, it rallies our sense of adventure and leads us out the door toward a new reality. Wow. With the pilgrim at your side, you will never lack courage, nor do you need every amenity. Travel light, travel soon. Your spirit needs it. Well, so I feel like that's what's next for you. You kind of embodying the pilgrim. Interesting how the word awakening was used here. When this archetype, the pilgrim, awakens, it rallies our sense of adventure, which is what the Ace of Wands can also indicate, a new sense of adventure, and leads us out the door toward a new reality. Yeah, that reminded me of Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit. You know, he was very much a bit of a hermit, a homebody, but then when Gandalf and all the dwarves come knocking on his door, this sense of adventure ignites in him, like the pilgrim in him awakens, and he sets off on an adventure. He leaves his comfort zone towards a new reality. Yeah, so with the Ace of Wands, there is travel in your future, maybe your near future, but I also see this being an indicator of like newness, you having new experiences. That will be uplifting, that will inspire you. And it also makes me think of you having a new approach to life. Things will be different and they will feel different. And I love how we have all of these colors here. We go from, you know, like a black and white to more colorful and then very colorful, right? Like a blend of colors here. We have a splash of colors and then a blend of colors. Beautiful. Which makes me think of there being more color, more vibrancy in your life, and also in your mind, in the way that you think, in the way that you feel. It's not one way or the other, it's a spectrum of it. But the pilgrim also reminds you that it's okay to be different, right? I know society can be a bit harsh with the unconventional, but it is okay to be different. It would be very strange if we were all the same and we didn't vary, because then we would be like robots, all coming from the same factory, and we're not, we're humans. So don't try so hard to fit yourself into a mold, into a box. Maybe if you have, that could be what has resulted in you feeling a little lost, or maybe not all like yourself, or a little disconnected from reality, because you are not meant to be placed in a box or in some kind of mold. You are maybe meant, like the pilgrim, meant to find your own way, pave your own path. Yeah, and I feel like if you resonate with that, that is what is next for you. You kind of setting out to do that and feeling very inspired, kind of very motivated by that idea, you know, of, well, I get to pave my own path. Like, I get to discover what is right for me. I get to discover what brings me passion. It's not foretold. I get to uncover that. I get to decide that. And it's not too late, is what I heard. It's not too late. The party has just begun. Again, I'm being reminded of Bilbo Baggins. He was, I believe, 50 years old, which is pretty young in Hobbit years, I think it is, when he left the Shire to go on his adventure. And he had a hell of an adventure. And he didn't think of himself as a very courageous hobbit, but he ended up being one of the most courageous hobbits known in Middle-earth. Yeah, and remember, we can live multiple lives in a single lifetime, as we can have many awakenings in a single lifetime, as we can experience many different versions of ourselves in a single lifetime. So yeah, it seems like what is next for you is, as mentioned already, a new beginning, a new life, maybe a new you, a new side of you, or a new adventure, a different adventure, one you haven't experienced, but a good one, a fun one, and a less stressful one as well. But let me see. For your last card, we have patience with Capricorn and wisdom in the key phrase. The hands of a clock move slowly, and the message, you might judge yourself as you race against the clock. Are you ahead or behind? Interesting. Look to adjust how you measure yourself against other people or your own expectations. Cultivate your own sense of intuitive timing and let go of comparison. Interesting how this card fell out, because I was just talking about it not being too late. So yeah, so if you're worried about that, if you often feel like you're racing against the clock or you're running out of time, you're being reassured that you're not. Life works in mysterious ways, and it can surprise us in ways that we don't really fathom or imagine. So again, I feel like referencing Bilbo Baggins. I know that's fantasy, I know it's fiction, but writers and artists often take a lot of inspiration from reality or personal experiences. So you can start anew, you can experience something different regardless of where you are in life, what life stage, what age you are, etc. But please be patient, please be kind to yourself. You are doing your very best. Some things do take time. Some things do take time for us to work through it, for us to feel through it. So you're not doing anything bad if it's taking you a certain amount of time to address an issue or to feel through something. Because the amount of time that it takes you is the amount of time that was right for you. It was the amount of time that was needed. So it wasn't too much, it wasn't too little, it was what was needed. There is a message coming through, which is one page of a chapter of your life will make up for a dozen pages in the book that is your life or in the book of your life. I feel like this message came through as reassurance for a select few of you. So if this message doesn't really resonate with you, or when you heard it you were like, what? then don't think much on it. This message might not have been for you. But let's see. The zodiac signs Scorpio, Capricorn, Sagittarius, and or fire signs could be of significance. So we have Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. Eggs, diamonds, and stars, a starry night sky, colors, the rainbow, a color palette, watercolors could be of significance. Aurora borealis could also be of significance. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I have the habit of mispronouncing a lot of words. I apologize. I do read a lot, but it doesn't seem to help much with my pronunciation. Anyways, full moons. A full moon in Scorpio or Sagittarius could be of significance. When there is a full moon in Scorpio or Sagittarius, that could be an important or significant time. Also Capricorn. Egypt spirals or swirls could be of significance. Okay, but these are all the messages coming through for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it brought some guidance, some clarity. If it did, then please leave a like or a comment. And if you're new to this channel and you wish to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information is in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. To all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements or just let them play in the background, thank you so much for that, since that is the simplest way to support me and to support this growing channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. And before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to my spirit team and your spirit guides for assisting me with delivering these messages to you. Thank you so very much, and I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching, and until the next moment. Bye-bye.